Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Where you been? Hi. I miss you guys. Okay, good to be back. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. All right. Lest you think that my annoyance with the behavior of these interlocutors, however you prefer to say or pronounce that word. Last we left with a comment I made here. We can also see in Kunda's lament that he does not take on the intended aspiration for the Tathagata's return, or at least that it does not depart. As to whether he internalizes this mission for himself to awaken remains to be seen. So, continuing the MahaPariNirvana Sutra, then the world-honored one said to all the monks, all the bhikshus, "O you bhikshus, do not, like all common mortals and devas, be sad." Right? Common mortals are those who aren't endeavoring to learn or practice Buddhism. In other words, those who are ignorant of Buddhism. Don't be like them. Don't be sad. Do not wail. Make an effort. Be mindful and abide in right thought. And this is Shakyamuni, right? The Buddha. And he's saying that what is the missing link here? I've been teaching for 50 years, the same thing. And especially for the last 8 years, get with the program. This is your innate ability. Just do it. Right? No, they still cling to this attachment that Buddha mind state is only bequeathed to them. Bequeath it to yourself. It's already there. Just, why can't you own this, right? Then all the devas and asuras, having heard what Shakyamuni Buddha said, stopped wailing. Like one who has lost a son and, after the funeral service, suppresses his sorrow and wails no more. Okay, they stopped wailing, but do they understand why they stopped wailing? Or they're just feeling confronted, right? And they don't want to show that anymore because Shakyamuni called them out on it. Let's see. Then the world-honored one spoke in a gatha for all the congregation. All of you, open your mind. Do not greatly distress yourselves. The teachings of all Buddhas are thus. And what does he mean by all Buddha? Your Buddha, her Buddha, their Buddha, my Buddha, your Buddha. Mind, right? Open your mind, he says. Don't go visit a mountaintop. Don't go worshiping, drawing, whatever. Open your mind. This is where we are. Buddhism is about the mind, right? Shakyamuni quoted, all of you, open your mind. Do not greatly distress yourselves. The teachings of all Buddhas are thus, so keep silence. Try not to be indolent. Don't be stubborn. Open your mind. Let yourself see. Guard your mind. Again with the mind. Abide in right thought. What does he mean by right thought? He's been talking about right thought since the Eightfold Noble Path, right? The fourth of the Four Noble Truths. Get your mind right. How do you get your mind right? What have I been talking about for 50 years? Right? Nichiren does such a clear job of pointing this out. Certainly, as disciples of Nichiren, we all should really get this. Segregate your own selves. Oh man, that's big. From unlawful acts. What does he mean by unlawful acts? Does he mean speeding, getting a traffic ticket? Does he mean violating social contracts? Unlawful acts. The law, in this case, is Myoho Rengekyo. He could have just as easily said, don't succumb to Mara, right? Or Dairaku Tenu Mao. Or any mental distraction that sidesteps, takes you away, influences you in a way that breaks your focus on Buddhahood, Buddha-ness. Don't partake in unlawful acts, acts that work against your enlightenment. Console yourselves and be happy. Does that mean put a smile on your face and fake it till you make it? No, be happy. Enter Buddhahood. Also, next, O bhikshus, if you have any doubts, ask now. If you still don't get it, tell me why. Tell me what's keeping you. If you have any doubt as to quiescent energy versus non-quiescent energy, eternal or outside of time versus non-eternal or within time, suffering versus non-suffering, dependent versus non-dependent, gone versus not gone, refuge versus non-refuge, always versus not always, impermanence versus the eternal or outside of time, beings versus non-beings, is versus not is, the real versus the not real, the true versus the not true, extinction versus non-extinction, esoteric versus non-esoteric, and the dual versus the non-dual. I shall speak to you accordingly to your capacity, but you gotta move forward. For your sake, too, I shall first speak of the mana and then enter nirvana. O bhikshus, it is hard to encounter the appearance of Shakyamuni Buddha in the world. I shouldn't say Shakyamuni Buddha there. It should just say Buddha. And that's a reference not only, please understand, whenever you read that statement, and we read it quite often, it is difficult to encounter the Buddha in person. That is quite literally a statement that if you understand that Buddha isn't a person, but to encounter Buddha in person, unlike our conventions, grammatical conventions, what it means is you're the person, and to encounter Buddha in your person, again, Buddhahood, right, is an instantiation of Tathagata-ness, which is foundational in all phenomena, obviously in you as well. So it is difficult to encounter Buddha in this life. In other words, You can't eat it like a bowl of cereal. You can't do scratch-offs until you win the Buddha. You can't wait until some Buddha walks up to your front door like a door-to-door salesman and says, "Would you like Buddha?" It's you. It's your mind. But you have to convince yourself of that. You have to be confident about that. And you have to do the work. Study, practice, resolve. The 3 pillars, right? There they are. You have any doubts? Ask me now. Get these doubts out of your mind, out of the way. Be mindful. And over and over again, he says the same thing. But we can be distracted by the words, right? And apply whatever little subconscious meanings, if you want to use that parlance, to the words and then miss the meaning altogether. Let's go on. It is hard to encounter the appearance of Buddha in the world. It is hard to be born human. In other words, it's a very rare event. Of all the particles, molecules, planets, dirt daubers, and suns and stars in the cosmos, the number of human minds, sentient minds, on this little blue marble earth, pretty almost insignificant, right? Not everything in every phenomena is guaranteed to instantiate as a sentient being. So take the opportunity. It's rare. It is hard, too, to encounter Shakyamuni Buddha and gain resolve. Or, once again, it is hard, too, to encounter Buddha or Buddha-ness and gain resolve. Have confidence. Be with conviction, right? Resolved to maintain this Buddha, your mind of Buddha. It is hard again to uphold and be perfect in the prohibitive injunctions and to attain enlightenment. You see how it just keeps repeating that if this were easy, you would just do it without having to consider. But we're so easily distracted because we're samsaric beings. We live in the physical universe, and our first instinct from the moment, well, even coming together as cell, sperm, and consciousness within the womb, it's a physical manifestation, right? Growing, compiling itself till it decides what its characteristics are going to be from the DNA of the egg, the DNA of the sperm, and the DNA of your specific karmic freight train. I mean, we're physical from the get-go. So that's deep within our operating system. So to convince ourselves that there's something more profound that we haven't bothered to really focus on, it's just like a skill or a talent. It's there all along, but until you develop it, concentrate on it, had confidence in your ability to do it, you really don't make the effort, do you? O bhikshus, this is like trying to find gold in sand. It is as in the case of the Adumbara. O bhikshus, it is hard to be born a human. By segregating one's self from the 8 inopportune situations, vices that bar the way to meeting Buddha and hearing the teachings, or his teachings, Those teachings, by the way, because this is generic Buddha here we're talking about, are coming from you. As I always say, the teachers are ourselves. We label people teachers, and that's fine in the vernacular and the parlance of societies, but the truth is the teaching goes on in the self, in our layered consciousnesses. The people we call teachers are basically sharing knowledge, pathways, inspirations, aspirations, but ultimately for those things to come to fruition, for the teachings to come to fruition, is your responsibility, right? O you, Shakyamuni says, having now met me, do not go away empty-handed. I underwent hardships in the past, and now I gain all such unsurpassed expedients. For your sake, innumerable kalpas ago, I cast away my body, hands, feet, head, eyes, marrow, and brain. By the way, if you need more proof that brain and mind are separate things, right? Brain is an organ. Mind is an emergent property, right? Consciousness. In view of this, do not subject yourselves to indolence. Don't be stuck. Don't be stubborn with yourself. Strive for what you know is there that you can develop and enjoy, right? Emergent properties you can immerse yourself in. O bhikshus, how do we adorn this treasure castle of wonderful Dharma, this Buddhahood? By adorning our own selves with various virtues and rare gems, and being protected by the bulwarks and moats of the precepts, shila, meditation, dhyana, and wisdom, prajna. Now you have met with this castle of Buddhist teachings. Do not take what is false. For example, a merchant may come across a castle of true treasures, yet gather up such rubbish as tiles and gravel and return home. The same with you. You have come to a castle of treasures, and yet you take what is false. In other words, you trip yourself up with your indolence and continue to have these mirages that are not the truth. The truth is plainly set before you, and rather than accepting it and working on integrating it, you just go with your own easy way of attachment, clinging, right? False. That's falsehood. You're fooling yourself. All of you bhikshus, do not be satisfied with a low mind, the saha mind, the samsaric mind, right? You are now ordained, but you do not love Mahayana that much. It's just something you do. You need to love, you need to sense it deeply, right? We might say cellularly. O you bhikshus, you wear on your bodies the kasaya and dyed robes of a monk, but your mind is still not dyed in the pure Dharma of Mahayana. You keep dragging on, you're dragging your saha world, your samsaric cravings and clingings into this practice. Stop it. O you bhikshus, you go to many places and you beg alms, but you do not seek the dishes of the Dharma of the Mahayana. O bhikshus, you shave your hair, but you do not shave off the bond of illusion. O you bhikshus, I now teach you truly. Now I see that all is in harmony, and the Dharma nature of the Buddha, manifest of Tathagata field, is true and unshakable. So make effort, all of you. Pick yourselves up, be brave, and make away with all the bonds of illusion. If the sun of wisdom of the 10 powers of Buddhahood sinks, darkness will reign over you. O you bhikshus, it is as when the great earth, mountains, and medicinal herbs all become of use to beings. The same is the case with the Dharma of which I speak. It calls forth wonderfully good and sweet dishes of Dharma and provides the best cure for beings' illnesses of illusion. I shall now make all beings my disciples, and I shall now make all beings my disciples, and the 4 classes of the Buddhist Sangha abide in the undisclosed teaching of Dharma. The 4 classes, right? The bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas. I too abide in this and enter nirvana. We share this. I'm just a human, enlightened. You too can do exactly as I have done. All of that is implied in this statement. I too abide in this, and I enter nirvana. What is the undisclosed storehouse? It is like the 3 dots in Sanskrit of the letter I. If they are in a crosswise line, they make no I. Placed vertically, they again serve no purpose. But when set like the 3 dots on the brow of Maheshvara, this is I. If the 3 dots are written separately, this again serves no purpose. So is it also with me. The Dharma of emancipation is also, by itself, not nirvana. Shakyamuni Buddha's body is also not nirvana. Great wisdom is also not nirvana. The 3 things may exist separately, but this does not constitute nirvana. I now quietudefully abide in the 3 and say that for the sake of all beings, I enter nirvana. This is as in the case of the letter I. So I put a note here. Let's see what I wrote. When we read many of Nichiren's writings, it becomes readily apparent the consistency of this theme of applying oneself to resolve, study, and practice. One can accomplish little in life without a concentrated effort. In point of fact, on this topic, Nichiren has quoted Shakyamuni many times on the importance of resolve. It is the title of one of his writings, and he quotes Shakyamuni in saying that one could reach the other shore, that is, awakening Buddha mind, simply through a determined and steadfast resolve. Then all the bhikshus, on hearing that Shakyamuni Buddha, world-honored one, would definitely enter nirvana, were sad. What did he just say? Come on. All right, they're sad. He's definitely going. He just told you not to be sad. Their hair stood on end, and their tears and noses ran. It's making me sad. They fell to the ground, oh my, touched Shakyamuni Buddha's feet, walked around his person innumerable times, and they said to Shakyamuni Buddha, can't wait to hear this, O world-honored one, you explain very well to us the eternal or outside of time suffering, the all-quiescent energy, and non-self. Just as all beings leave behind footprints, and the best of all footprints are those of the elephant, so with this thought of the non-eternal, or within time, it heads all thoughts. So they're describing their confusion over, time has always historically been confusing, because time is a construct we use to measure time. But time is an illusion, because in the measurement of time, we become attached or crave. Look, in science, they talk about it all the time. All the time. Right? Sorry, that threw me. My own words threw me. Right? When you try to locate something from a field, right? An electron is an instantiation of an electron field, right? Like a Tathagata field. When we identify Buddha, the ninth consciousness, we can tell what it's like, the entirety of the cosmos. But then when we individuate it and say, Sylvain's Buddha mind or Jane's Buddha mind, we're suddenly back in the Saha world of the physical realm. And it's confusing, because the Tathagata field has no time. It doesn't have a measurement of itself. It simply is. And in its ising, it isn't, until it's a particle like an electron. And as like in physics, when we locate what we perceive to be the electron, we can tell where it is, but we have no idea of its momentum, its movement, its speed, if you will, its time, right? But when we can measure its movement, its momentum, and we can assign some time to it, we can't tell what it is, how big it is, what it weighs, where exactly it is, right? It's fascinating. It's very much the same argument here. So time is a samsaric thing. It allows us, it provides for us to locate, therefore cling and crave the next. When in point of fact, there is no thing to cling to, nor is there a next. It's moments we're talking about, moment to moment to moment, of constantly instantiating a field of potential. Just as all beings leave behind footprints, and the best are elephant, so this non-eternal, or within time, this location thing, time, it heads all thoughts, our samsaric tendencies. One who makes effort and practices well does away with all love of greed, right? Craving, more. Of the worlds of Rapadatu and Arupadatu, ignorance, arrogance, and the thought of the non-eternal or within time in this world of desire, cravings, and clinging. O world-honored one, if Shakyamuni Buddha is away from the thought of the non-eternal or within time, he should not enter nirvana now. If not, how can you say, if one practices the meditation upon the non-eternal or within time, one cuts one's off from one's self, love, craving, ignorance, arrogance, and the non-eternal or within time of the three worlds? These terms of Rapadatu and Arapadatu are references to the Buddhist concepts of Nidana, where the real, that should say realm. The realm of forms, my goodness, is a non-human or sexualized form of being, rupa, dhatu, and the realm of formlessness above or prior to the realm of forms, belonging closer to the realm of formations. O world-honored one, as a farmer in autumn deeply tills the land and thus removes all harmful weeds, so it is the same with this thought of the non-eternal or within time. If it thoroughly rids one of the love of greed, the love of things of the rapadatu, the arupadatu, ignorance, arrogance, and the thought of non-eternal or within time, in the world of desire. O world-honored one, of all tilling of the field, that done in autumn is the best. Of all footprints, that of the elephant is best, and of all thoughts, that of the non-eternal or within time is the best. Really? O world-honored one, analogously, when an emperor is to pass away, amnesty is granted to all prisoners. Then he passes away, the same now with Shakyamuni Buddha. Please cut off the illusions of the bonds of ignorance and non-brightness of all beings. Give them emancipation, and then enter nirvana. We are not yet emancipated. Now does Shakyamuni desert us and enter nirvana? Oh, crap. Do you understand what he's saying? This is, I'll call it, the disease of the false nirvana. The teaching that so many monks clung to for decades, that their enlightenment could only come once Buddha manifested and gave it to them. That's what he's asking for. Give us our Buddhahood before you go. And Shakyamuni must be thinking, well, what do you think I've freaking done for 50 years? Especially the last 8. Hello, he just got through saying to you, stop being indolent and do this. Enlighten yourself, just as I have. I too, he says. Remember? Just a couple paragraphs ago. And they have the audacity, the temerity to ask for his bequeathal of enlightenment. This hurts my brain. Desert us and enter nirvana. O world-honored one may be caught by a demon. Yes, indeed. But as one comes across a good charmer, by dint of incantation, one can well gain one's release. You're the charmer. You're the incantation. You do the incantation and charm yourself into Buddhahood. No, it still has to come from outside of us. It makes me weep. The same is the case with Shakyamuni Buddha. No, it isn't the same with Shakyamuni Buddha. He's given you all the tools. For the sake of all Shravakas, he expels the malevolence of ignorance and lets them abide quietude-fully, as in the case of the letter I, in such laws as the great wisdom, emancipation, and others. O world-honored one, for example, people may bind up a ganhastin, a perfumed white elephant. But even a good trainer cannot get him under control. All of a sudden, it snaps off the rope and the chains and walks away as it will. The same is the case here. We're not rid of the 57 illusions. Why does the world-honored one desire to abandon us and enter nirvana? Abandon you? Really? O world-honored one, a person suffering from ague, obtains a cure for his ailments by encountering a good doctor. Yeah. You get an antibiotic, it doesn't fix you. You have to take the antibiotic. You have to do it. The same with us. Indeed. There are all ailments and sorrows, ill ways of living, fevers, etc. We have met with Shakyamuni Buddha, but the illnesses have not gone. Well, whose fault is that? And we have not obtained supernatural or supernal quietude and bliss. How can Shakyamuni Buddha desire to abandon us and enter nirvana? Because it's up to you to do the work now. He's given you everything. Ugh. An intoxicated person does not know himself, know who is near or not, mother or sister, and is lost in rudeness and lust, and lacks the faculty of speech, and sleeps in defiled places. Oh, you're describing yourself now? What? Huh? There happens to be a good doctor nearby who gives him medicine. After taking it, he vomits and regains his health. Conscience asserts itself, and humility catches him. He reproaches himself very much and regards drink as the root of all vile acts. The act, yeah, because you're drinking. It's not the alcohol's fault, right? If he could cut himself free from drinking, his acts would all cease. The same here. Yeah. How can you, in one sentence, sound like you're getting the message that it's on you to cease clinging to your illusions, right? To attain your enlightenment, and then in the next, say that you're not capable of it. It has to be given to you. How confused are they? So I have an entry here. Missing from this tirade is the realization that, quote, meeting Shakyamuni Buddha, end quote, should be an internal realization of one's own Buddha mind, as I've already said. These monks, as we can see from these first few chapters of the sutra, continue the illusion of the Semblance Dharma, that Shakyamuni Buddha or Tathagata are things or states outside themselves. The Lotus teaching exploded this mythology, but here it remains, well entrenched. All right, where are we time-wise? Yeah, that's good enough. All right, we're going to continue here. So this is an interesting sutra, isn't it? I find it quite different than any other sutra I've read. If only for the one major reason that Shakyamuni, he's got one foot out the door, right? Okay, 50 years dedication. The last 8 years, certainly, hardcore. This is how to practice Buddhism. This is how to be a Lotus Bodhisattva. And as he's declared he's leaving, all these people come up and bear out what they're really thinking. I have so much compassion for Shakyamuni at the moment. I would feel so deflated, not that I'd be puffed up, but you know what I mean? It's like, really? Really? You're still not getting it? What else can I possibly say? And we're going to find out, because as Shakyamuni discourses with different people who bring their particular level of understanding to him, he's going to be all over the map, just trying to get him to take one more step forward. So we're going to have a great disparity of capacity and knowledge and discussions, even the stories that he's going to discuss are going to go way back into early teachings. I've never seen any other sutra do this. So hang on. It's going to get really interesting. Thank you. Thank you for your practice. Yeah. Anything you can do to help me keep this alive and this resource, the website, the bookstore, the mandalas, yeah, the podcasts with which many of you seem to be loving. A lot of people love to participate and learn, imbibe knowledge, if you will, through the podcast. It's more convenient, I understand. But also use these videos. Use them as an excuse to get together with another practitioner or a group. Make it like the center of a meeting, if you will, quote unquote, yeah? And discuss. And from those discussion, or just from your own insights, you could ask questions in the comment, or email me directly if you don't like using the comments. Let's keep this whole resource for me is about encouraging my practice, your practice, right? As we've just been reading, our conviction, our confidence in our awakening is very, very, it's not only a powerful thing, it's a necessary thing. Okay? Please take care of your health. Without it, everything becomes harder, as I'm sure you're aware. My hope is that through our practice, we affect not only ourselves, but our environment, because the two are impossibly intertwined. And today, the world really needs our powerful daimoku. There's so much craziness going on right now. Don't let it influence your life. Make your life, make our lives influence it. Let's pet the anxiety out of that dog. Yeah. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Love and respect always. Take care of your health. I'll see you in the next one.